I never cared about Colin Kaepernick, which is why I didn't make videos about him taking a knee and following the whole line of what he was doing. To me, that was him legitimately using his right to free expression. He wasn't causing any trouble. It was a legitimate protest. I didn't think it was a legitimate cause. I think that Black Lives Matter is broadly full of shit and need to actually start taking responsibility for the things that their communities do. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't have the right to protest, even if I think they're wrong. And so when Kaepernick takes a knee, sure. There's no contradiction there with anything I believe. I just don't agree with his cause. So when Time put him on their Person of the Year list at number 6, I was just like, I don't care. It just doesn't bother me whatsoever. But now Kaepernick has taken up a contract with Nike, which he's been paid millions of dollars for, and the campaign is amazing. It's this here. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. Because he doesn't actually play for the NFL anymore, if I understand it correctly, but I might not, so don't take my word for it on that. But this is a hell of an interesting advertising campaign, because this is what a zealot would say. This is, of course, one giant virtue signal, because Kaepernick hasn't sacrificed everything. He's a very popular left-wing activist. He makes millions of dollars from these advertising campaigns through companies with which you would think, as a progressive, he would know better, but I guess the money was just too good. This is such an easy meme to mock. I can't believe they thought this was the way to go. Let's have Colin Kaepernick look like a progressive zealot. He can't be easily and roundly mocked and compared to someone like Bin Laden, who is exactly following this line of logic. It's no different whatsoever, it's just a different cause. This is The Guardian, anti-neoliberal paper. Nike is no stranger to controversy. The sportswear firm has run advertising featuring Lance Armstrong after a doping scandal. Maria Sharapova followed a failed drugs test, blah blah blah. Tiger Woods. Is that the controversy about Nike? Is it? Is that what's controversial about Nike? It's not the fact that they pay famous sports stars millions of dollars to advertise shoes that they sell for hundreds of dollars that are made by children in the third world for pennies. Do you remember being against neoliberalism, Guardian? This would seem to be the example of why neoliberalism is bad, why it's exploitative. I mean, only if you care about that sort of thing. I'm not suggesting you have to. You could just not give a shit, Destiny style, and actually be in favour of us enslaving the third world through proxy. I mean, it's up to you. But if we're talking about controversy, maybe that should be a little higher on the list of priorities. So Nike's share price fell 2% on Tuesday as the response ranged from people burning trainers and cutting the Nike logo from their socks to threatening a complete boycott of the brand. Get woke, go broke. And the thing is, there is a real reason for this, right? If you're a company, just an international company, you sell to the general public, don't start politicizing. Because the general public will instantly start getting sliced in half, and people will just break away saying, oh, we're not going to do that anymore because they're against us. They're not neutral anymore. They're not just here to provide us a product or service. They're here to tell us how we should live our lives. And spoiler alert, no one should be taking moral guidance from Nike. And the thing is, Kaepernick's a moron. Kaepernick said of his protest, I'm not going to stand up and show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black and brown people and people of colour. Yeah, alright, Colin. Alright. I mean, I guess you're only half black, aren't you? So you're not oppressed. What about the guy next to you? And the other guy? Are they oppressed? Multi-millionaire football players? But really oppressed here, isn't it? But it's all white supremacy. It's all someone else's fault. The fact that you didn't fall into it isn't even your fault. The fact that you got off your ass, did the work, earned your place, because no one sits there and says, oh, Colin Kaepernick's just a diversity hire or something like that. People act like you earned your place, and I'm sure you did. So why do you think you're different to the other brown and black people around you? At least based on your skin colour. You're not. You're different because of your actions and your behaviour and your work ethic. And that's something that, frankly, these communities are going to have to adopt, aren't they? There's just no getting around it. If you want to be successful, you have to do things in a certain way. It's not a form of oppression to get educated and get a job. But yes, apparently there is a hashtag #JustBurnIt over the advertising campaign, which, I mean, is no less crazy, don't get me wrong. Nike no longer own the product. You've already given them their money. If there was some compulsion involved there on their part on you, I might understand it. If you're burning a hijab, fine. Hell, if you're in Iran and you're burning an American flag, I can understand the reasoning. There are an overwhelming power that are forcing you to do something that you can't resist. Fine. Nike aren't doing that. But burning their stuff, it's look, they're not oppressing you, man. But of course people are doing this as a political statement because Nike have taken a political position. And this all could have been avoided had you just thought of something else to do with your advertising budget. Colin Kaepernick is not universally loved. As The Guardian pointed out, he's highly divisive. And given Nike's immoral history, do we really think that Nike as a corporation should be wading into a complex moral argument? The answer is, of course, no. Nobody gives a shit about your opinion on this. According to Zero Hedge, that 2% loss was $4 billion in market capitalization since the close on Friday. The Nike boycott was the #1 trending hashtag in the United States on Twitter. So, I guess Nike have raised their profile. Whether this translates into new sales or not is yet to be seen. Whether this improves Colin Kaepernick's career is yet to be seen, but I guess it's enriched Colin Kaepernick's bank account, which once again shows that everything corporations touch becomes empty, hollow, and wasted. You are not sacrificing everything, Colin. You are playing to your base and making millions.